All right, fifth garden tour of 2024. We're going to start with the not so good. This is the pink lemonade blueberry, which was doing great, and then suddenly this happened to all the leaves. It happened after we got quite a bit of rain, so I was thinking too much water, but you know, I think it'll still spring back. There's a lot of green in there in the stems. So I think the plant itself will survive. It's just not going to look good for the rest of the season. And if we come over here to our second blueberry, it's doing great. It liked the rain we got, I guess. It's just doing really well. And then here we have our tropicals that I really shouldn't have in our climate, but I still want them. This is a guava, doing fantastic. And then this is a Barbados cherry, also doing fantastic. My plan is just when we start getting cold to bring them either in the garage or get a greenhouse for them. This is my fig. So a couple weeks ago I accidentally flooded it and I realized and then came and I dumped all the water. But since flooding it, it's doing great. It looks really good, really healthy. When I was tipping the water out, I actually realized that the roots are going from the pot into the ground. So it's growing, even if up top we're not getting anywhere near to fruit production yet. All right, let's go over into our sweet potato bed. So this set of beds have not been watered today because they're all on a rotation. So it's looking like it's struggling. I might just go ahead and water it because it's not even hot yet and they look like they're struggling. So this is sweet potatoes taking over the whole bed, except for that little patch there. But instead they're trailing off out of the bed as well. And then we have the sorrel, which is doing really well. That one looks like it needs water. That one looks great. And that one looks fantastic. Now if we go into the second bed, we have a lot of Gomphrena here, looking good. Gomphrena. And this bed is very much struggling as well. And look at that zinnia. I think it's a combination also that it hasn't been watered today, but also overall, these two beds are full of new dirt. And as I was looking at the dirt, that's why I was digging over here, it's almost become more of a mulch over time, especially when it's like drier. So I think if I were building more beds again, instead of getting the raised bed mix, I'd probably just go with the compost, something a little bit lighter. But we have pink Gomphrena, white Gomphrena, because the Gomphrena is the best thing in this bed right now. Another white Gomphrena. Back there we have the Castro bean, and these never really got as tall as I thought that they were supposed to. They're alive, but they, from their description of the seed packet, were supposed to get like 6 feet tall, and so they never really took off like they were supposed to. Back there is a purple basil and a shishito pepper that's severely suffering. This is a chocolate scotch bonnet that's also suffering. I feel like the pink calendula is just gone. It's like down to basically that. There's a hollyhock. And in the front here we have the status, which did okay, actually. Pink cushions. These, I'm still waiting on blooms there. The second one bloomed and it looked like it would try again, except we've gotten really hot. This is a purple tomatillo, and I mean, it looks okay, but the problem is its buddy is dead and they need to really pollinate, so I'm not expecting much of anything from this plant. There's another basil, and then there's the scotch bonnet, which is the best pepper in this bed. Another Gomphrena, Spanish lavender. This one is the straw flower up there. And and the best looking hollyhock there. All right, we come into our in-betweens. We have eucalyptus here. It really tipped over. It needs to stand back up. And then we have some star zinnias. Great. And in what was formerly bed 1, we have blue sage here. And we have some more sweet potatoes here in the middle row. This soil has also been just kind of problematic, but this has been problematic for years. It's a different type of soil. You can see it's a lot thinner. This bed got watered today. It's a lot thinner consistency. It's not chunky mulch or chunky bark like that first bed looked. This is a carrot. Our Mexican sunflower is basically done, but also still trying, so I just let it try. And here have some beans I just transplanted the other day, there and there, for them to grow up and over. And if we come into the next bed, here we have some calendula and a carrot, and then this one is a zinnia that went rogue, but it's quite tall and it's pretty far out there. We have the grape, which is doing really well and coming up and taking over, or sharing space, I should say, with the cucumber. It's little cucumbers, but it's too hot for them at the moment. We got a little cool spell. Plant did well, tried to produce all this fruit. Doubtful that the fruit will make it. And then we have, this is the Turkish pepper, sweet pepper. I've had a few of them, they're pretty good. This is agastache, another zinnia, which is in bloom. And then this is my other, and really the most successful Scotch bonnet plant. Look at that. It's doing fantastic. This has always been the bed with the best soil for some reason. This is just the bed where things thrive in. Behind the Scotch bonnet, I have another pepper plant that I did not label, so I'm not 100% sure about it. And then we have a jalapeno here in the middle, and some basil that's bolted, and another bean. So the beans in the other bed, I grew beans in the spring. They kind of died before I really got a full bean harvest. I got maybe like 1 or 2. It was like something kind of tore off the vine. So I took the seeds, I let it dry there, took the seeds, planted 3 here. So the 2 that I transplanted over to that trellis, and then this one. So we'll see how this one does, because it needs to climb. So I am going to have to put like poles or something up for it. I just didn't want to move all 3 until I knew that they were going to survive over there. And then this is a huckleberry, which it grew, but and there are a couple fruits on there, so we'll see what happens. This is a bell pepper, another Scotch bonnet back there, but it's missing like a good chunk of its leaves. Like the growth structure is just really interesting on it. It's basil, another bell pepper here. And there's like a tiny strawberry hiding under there. Strawberry back there. Alright. If we come into this next bed, we have a eggplant here hiding under the zinnia. We have a calendula, another jalapeno, and then that row of Swiss chard back there. Another basil. We have the coulis thyme or Cuban oregano, and we have fever grass or lemongrass right there. And we're gonna go this way. The wildflower area is very, very dry right now. We have this middle area that I planted with perennials, and I'm kind of doing an experiment. They're not getting any supplemental water, so I just want to see who's going to survive back there. And who doesn't is really going to tell me the toughest plants for this area. If we were to zoom over there, that is the pomegranate, which is actually doing really, really well. It's gotten 0 water from me. All it gets is whatever happens when it rains, and it's doing awesome. So it's kind of hard to identify it amongst all the basically weeds that have taken over the wildflower area. All right, and then in this bed, might as well just call this the blackberry bed now, because the blackberry's gone wild as it does. I've harvested all the onions out of here already. Some of the stalk here and there are still doing pretty okay. This is a strawberry and another strawberry over there. This is a seed head from one of the onions. So I left these so that like I could just collect seeds from them, but I don't know if I will or not because I had a hard time growing onions from seeds. That's a yarrow there. And then there is a tomato on the inside that's still alive, still from the spring planting. Now on this bed we have the Korean mint here, which I think I should have cut this back after the blooms kind of wore out. I think if I'd cut it back it would have sprung back new and fresh. Here is more tomatoes, but these are cherry tomatoes, also from spring. We have snapdragons in here, and snapdragon, and those are from last year. I can't believe that they're still alive. We got basil, have more huckleberry here and there. This is the Turkish pepper as well, doing well. The zinnia, and then there is our papaya, which again should not really have in this climate, but it's growing, so we'll see. I doubt it's not quite tall enough. I don't know the variety, so I don't know, maybe it's a dwarf, but I don't think it's big enough yet for me to get fruit from. And then back there is another zinnia. And if you come in this bed, we have chives here, which have bloomed, and these are the blooms of the chives. And we have an agastache there, which is also blooming. This is the martini, lavender martini agastache. There are their blooms. It's actually the first bloom I've seen from them. This is another snapdragon here. And then we have the dahlia there, which is doing great actually. I mean, it looks a little worn, definitely been attacked by stuff, but it's growing out pretty good, pretty big. And we have a rose, it's probably better seen from the other side. And another basil there, another zinnia. And a lot of these zinnias were actually just volunteers. This one was a volunteer, as well as that one from last year. So we'll see how many we get next year. If we come around, we have the Coreopsis, or not Coreopsis, calendula there. And then this was the Italian dandelion that I thought was dead. It sprung back up and then it bolted pretty quick, and this is after it's bolted. This is a shishito pepper, doing really well. The rose from the other side. My goal is to get it to come up and go over those branches of the pole. This is another huckleberry. I have a lot of huckleberry plants for somebody who's never had a huckleberry, but we'll see, if they ripen and what they taste like and what I can do with them. And then down here, we have more pin cushions, and that is Sweet Alyssum, the thinner leaves there, Sweet Alyssum, that volunteered from last year's planting. Oh, this shishito is ready to go. And that's it for the 5th garden tour of 2024. Basically a lot of drow dry and heat. So yeah, but everything's hanging in there.